I'm not a cow. Vote. Open. Listen, I'm gonna make you sweat, make you drench, make you wet, wet, wet. I'm gonna make you scared, little baby, pissing in your pants of pressure.
Vault unlocked. Guys, I just saw a video of this white lady who says that she has the 411 information about what's really going on with those miners underground. Those miners really bother me a lot, eh? Because, first of all, I still stand by what I said. Why did you go there in the first place? Like, I understand people get into situations or they do things not thinking that, oh my gosh, I'm going to perish down there, or this and this is going to happen that's bad. Obviously, you don't get into anything thinking something bad is going to happen. You're always going to hope for the best possible outcome, even if you're doing crimes. And then when you're doing crimes, damn, you're really going to wish for the best possible outcome. You don't want to go to jail or you don't want to die. But look now. God gave these people so many opportunities to actually see, Luna, you're in trouble. Like, you're in real big trouble down there. And nobody actually listened to what God was saying. And now they are trapped down there and they are eating each other. And now it's the government's fault. It's like, how dare you guys, you guys are murdering these guys. Maybe there's something wrong with me, no? I know somebody's probably gonna say out there, oh, Lynn, you don't understand. They were doing it for their families. Crime is crime. In every crime, every criminal knows there's going to be big repercussions if you get caught. Maybe at some point they could have come out and they really did stay down there because they didn't want to get arrested. Because if you're gonna do this mining crime thing, ne? And the other guy was saying that they get paid quite a lot of money. Like tens and thousands. Right? If you're gonna do this very dangerous crime, you've heard it from somebody else that has been down there. So they know how bad the situation is. It's cramped. It's like a city. But a cramped city. You're gonna consider all those things, right? But you're just thinking, nah, because this guy told me they made thousands and thousands, let me just go. Now some of them are not coming back. Starving, eating toothpaste with salt. Yeah. Those people's situation is so bad. Like, I feel bad for them on a human level. But do you see, when you do wrong things, there are so many consequences. It's rough. Now you're eating people. Bro, you're eating people down there. Oh, I'd rather be up here with the aliens and the drones and all the things. And even like, you guys are so relaxed. Everybody's so relaxed. Like, am I the only one that's following all the creepy stuff that's happening in the sky? Do you guys just not care? Oh, it's not just creepy things happening in the sky. It's creepy things happening down below. Like these miners. And what about those 6,000 prisoners that escaped in Mozambique? Oh, I told you guys, do all your dramas at once. I'm tired of all these things just popping up. Do them all at once, okay? Because I can't take it anymore. Huh. Sure. And what about the girls that apparently allegedly were trafficked down there? There's deceased bodies of the miners. But I'm still asking, they're not even going to find out. They're not even going to run any tests to see DNA. Were they females there? What happened? We'll never know. So you see, I have a thing about feeling sorry for these minor guys. What about the girls that were taken down there forcefully? What about the other group of kids that were shooting a music video? And the Zamazamas came and they outwarded them, all of them, including the boys. And then those Zamazamas ran into the mine. What about that explosion in Johannesburg? So now this lady that has the 411 information it's kind of like she's trying to make us feel sorry for those guys down there. On a human level, okay, we get it. But like, do you get it? Does she get it? Anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a horrible person, right? But take a look at this lady and let me know what you guys actually think. The Zama, they were trying to better their lives. Now they're trying to live out of that hole with their lives. Eating the dead to stay alive. Do you know how crazy that is, bruh? Sure. Anyway, check this out.
I'm making this video because we have to start telling the truth about what's happening in Stilfontein. It's up to us to start telling the truth because the media is not always telling the truth, and the police are definitely not telling the truth. So I've been on site several times. Um, I've been working with other activists who are also going on site, and us as activists, we and volunteers, we've been engaging with Makua, Mining Affected Communities United in Action. Makua is the most key organization on the ground in Stilfontein. If you want to know what's really going on, Makua is your best source of information. What's happening at Stilfontein is a crime against humanity. It is the deliberate starvation and mass murder of hundreds, if not thousands, of people at Shaft 11. The police are repeatedly saying that miners can leave. That is not true. They're making it sound as if the miners don't want to leave, don't want to be rescued, don't want to exit the shaft. That is not true. It's not true. Shaft 11 is 2 kilometers down vertically. It's a vertical shaft, cylindrical shape, with a smooth concrete wall. There's no lift, there are no stairs, there's no ladder. It's 2 kilometers until you get to the bottom of shaft 11. The miners are trapped at 1.6 kilometers and 1.7 kilometers to the best of our knowledge. There's no way out. The police keep saying that the miners who are trapped at shaft 10 can exit, at shaft 11, can exit through shaft 10. That is not true, and I'll explain later why that is not true. Shaft 10, if anything, is even worse than shaft 11. So what happened is that the state decided to enact Vala Mgodi, which means plug the hole. They did this as a crackdown on so-called illegal mining, and it's a nationwide project. How this ever got signed off by the Department of Minerals, the Department of Police, and the Presidency, I will never know, because it cannot be constitutional to deprive people of food and endanger their lives in order to coerce them to come out of a mine shaft simply to make arrests. What this amounts to is torture and murder. Slow murder of starving people to death, which is an incredibly painful way to die. They have denied life-saving medicines, ARVs, blood pressure medication, and they have left these miners in a situation where I would be very surprised if they're not dying of cholera, because there's absolutely no sanitation products. There are no batteries for the headlights, so people are just stuck in the dark. So we have to talk about how deep 2 kilometers is, or 1.6 kilometers, which is where the miners are. 1.6 to 1.7 kilometers is 10 times as deep as Ponte Tower, or Vodacom Tower as it's known in Joburg, is high. So we all know Vodacom Tower. It's, I don't know what, more than 100 stories high. people have been known to jump out of Ponte Tower to their death. Shaft 11, where the people are located, is 10 times deeper underground than Vodacom Tower is high. If you were to walk 1.6 or 1.7 kilometers from your house, you would walk or you would drive and you would look back at your house and you wouldn't be able to see it. That means that when the miners, if they were to look up, they wouldn't even be able to see the sky as a speck. That's how deep underground they are. There's no light there. The police have denied batteries for the headlamps. That means that the people down there are in total darkness. They're in total darkness. That's a form of torture. Sensory deprivation is a form of torture, and it will drive you mad. So let's talk about why the miners cannot exit at shaft 10 and why they cannot exit at Margaret Shaft. Margaret Shaft belongs to another mine. It's not connected to shaft 11 in any way. It's not connected. There is no route from shaft 11 to shaft Margaret underground. When the police say this, they are contradicting what's in the court papers and what we know. Let's talk about shaft 10. The miners can't exit at shaft 10. Shaft 11 and 10 are connected through a maze, a labyrinth of underground tunnels that you can easily get lost in. In order to get from shaft 11 to shaft 10, you would have to crawl, climb, walk, wade through water for at least 3 days. It's incredibly dangerous. There are rock falls. You can get lost and never find your way back. It takes 3 days of crawling, climbing, wading to get from shaft 11 to shaft 10. But that's not even the worst of it. When you get to shaft 10, you are 1.4 kilometers underground. And the way that miners have been getting from where they are to the surface is by climbing an old guardrail. So there was a lift there before. That lift is gone. It's just the guardrail left. And there's nothing to grip onto that guardrail with. It's just a vertical metal structure. And they have to climb 1.4 kilometers vertically with nothing to grip onto. And there's water spraying into the shaft. There's methane gases floating around, which will make you dizzy. These are people who are so sick and emaciated, they look like they just came out of a concentration camp. They're dizzy. They don't have the strength. They don't have the fortitude to climb. They barely react, you know, when you speak to them or when there's something in front of them, they barely react. They're so sick. They're so starved. They're dehydrated. It's now up to them to climb 1.4 kilometers. Can you climb even 2 meters? Can you climb even 1 meter vertically on a metal pole? So then they have to climb. It takes 3 days of climbing to get from where they are to the top. 3 days. And they have to tie themselves to that metal structure to rest from time to time. They have to take rope and tie their bodies to the pole to sleep so that they can carry on climbing. And when they wake up, their circulation is gone. They have to wait 2 hours for their circulation to come back so that they can keep climbing because they've tied themselves so tightly with a rope. And what's happened at shaft 10 is that people will fall, and they'll fall on top of everyone else beneath them, and everyone will fall to their death. 50, 100 people at a time will fall to their death. That's shaft 10. That's where the police say the miners are free to leave from. And how do we know this? Because a couple of people, a handful of people, have managed to make that journey and climb up and make it out alive. And one of them was 14, and he was interviewed at the police station. And I have the video of that, but I'm not going to share it because I wouldn't have permission to put that person's face in the public. So that's the situation at Stilfontein. And it doesn't matter how many times we say it. People are trapped, people are trapped, people are trapped. The media is misreporting on it, and not all media. I'm talking about specific outlets. And the police are lying. I was on site on Tuesday. I went to the police. I said, how do you expect people to come out? And they said, they must come through shaft 10. And I said, you know they can't do that. And they argued with me, and they spoke over me, and they said, yes, they can. It's not true. So the police are lying through their teeth about this. The state signed off on this. This is collective punishment. This is mass murder. This is torture. This goes against international law. And we're all just allowing it to happen. This is, at minimum, 10 times worse than Marikana ever was. Marikana is the single most shameful stain on our democracy's history. And this is 10 times worse, at minimum, than that was. Let's talk about the rescue operation. There is no rescue operation as we speak. The only rescue that's happening is happening by community members. So the community is pulling people out one by one. These are people who have taken a nylon rope, a 2 kilometer or 1.6 kilometer long nylon rope. And they have a rudimentary pulley system that they use to pull people up. And they can pull 2, at most 3 people up a day. I've watched them do it. It takes hours to rescue one person. The rope itself is so heavy, let alone having a person on the end of it. And the people who are doing this work have to do it in a team of about 30 people who pull and pull and pull, and they stand close to the edge of that hole, and they have no safety harness. These are community members who are trying to save their brothers who are down there, their children who are down there. These are brave community members. And they're doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. They're doing it because those are their friends. Those are their kin that are down there. The community's praying every night for the safe return of these people. There's an atmosphere of fear and intimidation in the town because the police have intimidated people, intimidated survivors. So at this rate, with at least 800 people underground, how long do you think it would take to rescue everyone? If 2 people can get rescued a day, if we worked for 400 days, a year, more than a year, we'd be able to pull everyone out. And let's talk about the food that we as volunteers and activists have managed to send down there. And I'm talking about a group of very dedicated activists and volunteers working with Makua to try and fundraise what little we can. And what we've managed to fundraise has been enough to buy like a few loads of EPUB, Morvite, and basic food foodstuffs. And that has been lowered down by that same volunteer group. And we received a letter from underground that said the people are eating once a day at 6 a.m. They're eating once a day. Everyone eats a tiny amount, not enough to keep them healthy, not enough to save their lives. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Feel free to share this, and we need to start telling the truth about this. The state needs to get these people out. They need to get the machinery in place to pull these people out, and we have to put maximum pressure on them to do that. Only the state has the resources to do it.